Some places promise cleanliness, others demand it. At Sudsy's 24-hour laundromat, the difference becomes terrifyingly clear. Maya pushed through the glass door of Sudsy's 24-hour laundromat at 2:17 a.m., the fluorescent lights hitting her like a physical wall. The smell followed immediately. Industrial detergent so sharp it made her eyes water, mixed with bleach and something else. Something almost sweet underneath. She'd been wandering the city for 3 hours, unable to sleep again. The apartment felt too small, too quiet, too full of her own restless thoughts. But here, surrounded by the mechanical hum of washers and the harsh, white light, she felt something she hadn't in weeks. Peace. The place was empty except for the attendant, a thin man reading a newspaper behind bulletproof glass. He didn't look up when she entered. Maya selected a washing machine in the back corner, away from the windows, and loaded her week's worth of clothes. The detergent dispenser was overfilled, blue liquid spilling onto the concrete floor in perfect circles that never seemed to dry. As the machine began its cycle, Maya found herself breathing deeper. The chemical smell that had initially burned her nostrils now felt cleansing, like it was washing something away from inside her lungs. She sat on a hard plastic bench and watched the clothes tumble through sudsy water, hypnotized by the rhythm. 27 minutes later, the cycle ended with a decisive click. Maya moved her clothes to a dryer, but something made her hesitate. Her favorite sweater, the one her sister Sarah had given her for Christmas, looked different. Cleaner, yes, but also diminished somehow. The soft blue seemed paler, the fabric thinner. Just the harsh lighting, she told herself, but her fingers lingered on the material. It felt wrong. Not damaged exactly, just less. The dryer hummed to life, and Maya found herself walking to the industrial sink in the corner. The soap dispenser was commercial grade, the kind that burned if you used too much. She pushed the lever once, twice. The pink foam piled in her palm, and she worked it between her fingers until they tingled. She scrubbed her hands for 5 minutes, then 10. The skin turned red, then nearly translucent. When she finally stopped, her hands felt alien, too clean, like they belonged to someone else. But the sensation was oddly satisfying, like she'd removed more than just dirt. The attendant's newspaper rustled behind the glass. When Maya looked up, he was watching her through the small window, his expression unreadable. She yanked her hands back from the sink and walked quickly to collect her dry clothes. Outside, the night air felt contaminated against her newly clean skin. Every surface she touched, the door handle, her car keys, the steering wheel, left an invisible film that made her want to return to that industrial sink. As she drove home, the chemical smell seemed to follow her, seeping from her clothes, her hair, her pores. In her apartment, Maya stood in her bathroom, staring at her hands under the regular fluorescent light. They looked normal now. Disappointingly normal. She turned on the faucet and reached for her gentle hand soap, but stopped. It smelled wrong. Weak. Insufficient. She turned off the water and went to bed with her hands still feeling dirty. Maya returned the next night. She told herself it was practical. Her sheets needed washing, and the laundromat was quiet, peaceful. But she brought more than sheets. Pillowcases that were already clean. Towels she'd used once. A jacket she'd worn for 30 minutes. The same attendant sat behind his glass partition. Same newspaper, same indifferent expression. Maya wondered if he ever left, if he ever needed to. She claimed the same corner, same machines. The detergent dispenser was still overfull, blue liquid still pooling on the floor in those perfect circles. Maya filled the washer, then filled it again, cramming in items until water could barely circulate. This time, she didn't wait on the bench. She went straight to the industrial sink and pumped the pink soap into her palms. The foam burned pleasantly as she scrubbed her hands, then her forearms, working up to her elbows. The fluorescent lights made her skin glow white beneath the suds. 15 minutes passed before she stopped. Her arms looked raw, nearly transparent, but felt perfect, clean in a way she'd never experienced. She could see the delicate blue veins beneath her skin, could almost see through to the bone. When the wash cycle ended, more of her clothes looked different. The towels were whiter, but somehow less substantial. Her favorite jeans had faded from deep indigo to pale gray. The jacket she'd worn for 30 minutes now fit loose, as if it had lost mass along with color. Maya loaded everything into the dryer and returned to the sink. This time, she rolled up her sleeves and washed her face with the industrial soap, letting the chemicals burn away layers of skin she didn't know she had. The sensation was intoxicating, like shedding an old self, revealing something cleaner underneath. The bathroom mirror in the back reflected a stranger. Her face was pale, scrubbed nearly translucent, but her eyes were brighter, clearer. She looked purified, refined, essential. At home, the chemical smell had permeated everything. Her pillow reeked of bleach and detergent. Her sheets felt rough against skin that had grown sensitive. But worse was the contamination. Everything she touched felt dirty now. Her phone screen, her coffee mug, her own unwashed body. She stood in her shower for an hour, scrubbing with kitchen sponges, but nothing compared to the industrial sink. Regular soap felt like water. Shampoo felt like nothing at all. She emerged feeling fouled, coated in a film of inadequacy. Maya called in sick to work. She couldn't bear the thought of sitting in chairs other people had sat in, touching keyboards contaminated by hundreds of fingers. Instead, she sat in her apartment, watching the clock until it was late enough to return to Sudsy's. By the third night, she was bringing clean clothes to wash again. By the fourth, she was washing the same load twice. The attendant never spoke, never questioned why she needed 6 cycles for a single shirt, why she spent more time at the sink than at the machines. Her reflection in the laundromat's mirrors showed someone translucent, refined, nearly see-through. But it also showed one disappearing. Her favorite memories, lazy Sunday mornings with Sarah, her first kiss, the taste of her grandmother's cookies, felt distant now, washed out like photographs left too long in bleach. Maya told herself she could stop anytime. She just needed to get clean first. Really clean. Perfectly clean. On the 7th night, Maya couldn't remember her sister's name. She stood at the industrial sink, pink foam covering her arms up to the shoulders, and tried to recall the face of the woman who had given her the blue sweater. The sweater that was now a pale gray rag tumbling in washer number 4. She remembered Christmas morning, remembered unwrapping paper, remembered gratitude. But the person who had sparked that feeling was gone, bleached away like a stubborn stain. Panic rose in her throat, tasting of chemicals. She grabbed for the memory desperately, but it dissolved between her fingers like soap suds. Sarah? The name floated just out of reach, growing fainter with each attempt to grasp it. Stop, she whispered to her reflection in the sink's metal backsplash. Her face was barely there now, features worn down to suggestion. Stop washing. Go home. Here. But her hands kept moving, kept scrubbing. The pink foam had turned red. She was washing away skin now, revealing muscle, revealing bone. It should have hurt. It should have terrified her. Instead, it felt like progress. The attendant's newspaper rustled. Maya looked up to see him watching her with eyes that weren't quite right. Too clean. Too empty. Like looking into mirrors that had been scrubbed until they showed nothing. How long? She asked, her voice hoarse from chemical fumes. He smiled with teeth too white, too perfect. Until you're clean. I am clean. Are you? Maya looked down at her hands. Through her hands. She could see the sink drain between her transparent fingers, could see her bones like pale shadows beneath translucent flesh. This wasn't cleaning. This was erasure. She tried to step back from the sink, but her body wouldn't obey. Her reflection in the metal showed someone who was barely there, a suggestion of a person worn away by too much purification. She was disappearing, being refined out of existence one scrub at a time. I want to leave, she said. The attendant's smile widened. You are leaving. Piece by piece. Memory by memory. Soon there won't be anything dirty left. Oh, my Shroud. Maya understood then. This wasn't about cleaning clothes or hands or skin. It was about cleaning away everything that made her human. Her flaws, her memories, her imperfections. Her identity was a stain to be removed, her personality a contamination to be purged. She could feel her childhood washing away, her first heartbreak dissolving, her dreams and fears and loves all swirling down the drain with the pink-tinged water. She was becoming perfectly, horribly clean. With tremendous effort, Maya yanked her hands from the sink. The motion felt like tearing herself in half. Part of her, the clean part, the purified part, wanted to stay, needed to stay, but some small stubborn corner of her mind still remembered what she was losing. She stumbled toward the door, leaving wet footprints on the concrete floor. Behind her, the machines hummed their mechanical lullaby, calling her back. The chemical smell wrapped around her like chains, promising completion, promising perfect cleanliness. Maya's hand touched the door handle. It felt contaminated, greasy with the residue of 100 other hands. The sensation made her recoil, made her want to return to the sink, to wash away this new contamination. But she pushed through the door anyway, stumbling into the night air that felt thick and dirty against her translucent skin. Behind her, the laundromat waited, patient and eternal, ready for her return. Maya made it 3 blocks before the contamination became unbearable. Everything outside the laundromat felt filthy. The sidewalk beneath her feet, the air she breathed, the clothes clinging to her translucent skin. A homeless man asked for change, and when their fingers accidentally touched, Maya nearly screamed. His skin was so dirty, so human, so real. The contact left a mark on her hand that burned like acid. She tried to go home, tried to be normal, but her apartment was a museum of contamination. The dishes in her sink, unwashed for a week, made her physically ill. Her bedsheets, which she hadn't changed since this started, felt like sandpaper against her refined skin. Even the air itself seemed thick with human residue, breath and sweat and all the messy reality of existence. Maya lasted 6 hours. When she returned to Sudsy's, the attendant looked up from his newspaper and nodded, unsurprised. She walked past him to her corner, to her machines, to her sink. The pink soap felt like coming home. This time she didn't resist. She let the foam wash away the last of her resistance, the final stubborn bits of personality that had clung to her bones. Her reflection grew fainter with each scrub until she could barely see herself in the metal backsplash. By dawn, Maya had found her place in the ecosystem of the laundromat. She belonged here now, among the perfectly clean machines and the sterile fluorescent light. She was part of the purification process, a component in something larger and cleaner than herself. The attendant handed her a uniform, crisp white, never stained, perfectly pressed. She put it on and felt complete for the first time in her life, or what remained of her life. The distinction no longer mattered. Weeks passed, or maybe months. Time felt different when you were clean. Linear, purposeful, efficient. Maya helped new visitors use the machines, guided them to the industrial sink, watched them discover the joy of true cleanliness. Some resisted at first, like she had, but contamination was a temporary condition. Everyone could be cleaned, given enough time and the right chemicals. Late one Tuesday night, a young man pushed through the glass door. He looked exhausted, overwhelmed, seeking refuge from whatever chaos existed in the dirty world outside. Maya recognized the expression. She had worn it once, when she still had enough substance to wear expressions. She showed him to washer number 4, her old favorite, and explained the industrial detergent dispenser with its perpetual blue spill. His clothes were already clean, but that wasn't the point. It never was. "The sink is over there," she said, her voice barely a whisper of sound. "The soap is very effective." Wow. He looked at her with eyes that still held color, still held memories, still held all the beautiful contamination of being human. "Thank you," he said. Maya smiled with lips so translucent, they were barely there. Behind the bulletproof glass, the attendant turned a page in his eternal newspaper. The machines hummed their mechanical lullaby. Everything was perfectly, horribly clean. The young man approached the industrial sink and pushed the lever once. Pink foam pooled in his palm, and Maya watched him begin the process she knew so well. Outside, the dirty world spun on, contaminated and chaotic and beautifully, messily alive. But inside Sudsy's 24-hour laundromat, everything was exactly as it should be. Clean,